Hello, everybody. This is Blaine Gilmer here for Southeastern 14, and it is time to break down Alabama versus the Texas Longhorns. This is the game that all the eyeballs are going to be on, a 12 o'clock kickoff on Fox, and it is a matchup of two future SEC opponents. You got the Alabama Crimson Tide traveling to the Texas Longhorns, so excited to break this one down for you, and we're going to cover all the different headlines in this, all the different matchups, the dudes, if you will, in this game that are going back and forth, the familiarity. So we've got a lot of it to break down, and we're going to go ahead and get to things here in just a minute. But do us a favor and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, because Southeastern 14 covers every game every week. Myself, Chris Lee, Blake Lovell, we all cover every game every week, have a lot of analysis, a lot of videos, a lot of reactions coming out, all the content that you could want on the SEC. It's right here on Southeastern 14. So appreciate you tuning in. Now let's get to the preview here of Alabama and Texas. All right, so Alabama is a 19-point favorite in this one. The over-under is 61.5 all-time. Texas leads this series 7-1-1, 7 wins, 1 loss, 1 tie in this series for the Texas Longhorns. The last victory for either team being when Alabama won 37-21. So Alabama's won victory in the series in the national championship game in 2010. Both teams come in with a 1-0 record. Alabama destroying Utah State at home 55-0, and Texas taking care of UL Monroe at home as well. It was the debut of Quinn Ewers, and then of course the Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young doing his thing for Alabama, returning once again. Like I said, this is at Texas. This is a 12 o'clock noon kickoff. So it'll be 11 o'clock Central Time, and it is on Fox. The headlines coming into this one: you got two big-time quarterbacks, like we said. Bryce Young for Alabama, returning Heisman Trophy winner, went for 100 yards rushing in his opening game for Alabama against Utah State, against Quinn Ewers, who went up, graduated a year early, went to Ohio State originally out of high school, got reportedly around $1 million in NIL deals, ends up coming back to Texas, and now has started off his career the right way. Had a fantastic opening game there against UL Monroe. Saban versus Sark. We've got the kind of the student versus the teacher, if you will, the pupil versus the mentor. Sark, everybody knows Sark's past. He kind of fell out of favor in the head coach ranks, things of that nature. Comes in, kind of rehabilitates his image as a coach, as a man, things like that. Comes through Saban's program and ends up working himself into a position where he can get that Texas job over there. So now he's practiced several years against that Alabama defense, that Saban-led defense. So the chess match that'll be going on between those two is something to watch. And is Texas back? I mean, that's been the barometer for years. Everybody knows the much talked about meme and things of those natures that happened when Sam Ehlinger was with the program and they beat Georgia and said, Longhorn Nation, Texas is back. Well, now we'll see if that truly is the case, as Alabama, right along there with Georgia, Ohio State, programs of the like, are the barometer in college football. So we'll see what happens there. It all comes down ultimately with the guys on the field, and you see some of these matchups here, the key offensive players. Again, it starts, ends, everything goes around Bryce Young for that Alabama team. He is dynamic, has tremendous arm strength, is able to anticipate throws. And now if he's more willing to be a runner and is smart when able to do so, that is just an even more dangerous component for Alabama. They have maybe the best running back in the country in Jahmyr Gibbs. He's right up there with some of the other running backs you see in the SEC, Zach Evans, Tank Bigsby, but Bijon Robinson has something to say about that over on the Longhorn side. Robinson looked great in the opener as well, is a strong back, just gets downhill so quickly on those runs, keeps his shoulders square, is devastating with cuts as well. So Robinson is a guy that Alabama is going to have to make sure their defensive front, that is very, very talented and is extremely good at pass rushing, but make sure they're tackling the running back on the way to the quarterback, as the old saying goes. So that will be a tremendous matchup. That entire O-line struggled mightily last year for Texas. Better protection for Quinn Ewers in that opener. Of course, it was UL Monroe, but we'll see facing up against Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell. I think hands down the best trio of pass rushers in the entire country when it comes to Alabama. What they have there, they got a big-time leadership piece back in both the secondary and at linebacker, and Jordan Battle returning at safety, Henry To'oTo'o at linebacker. Here's something that you might want to keep an eye on. The new offensive tackles for Alabama, Stein, the transfer from Vanderbilt, playing at left tackle the first game, taking on guys like Keandre Coburn, Demarvion Overshown. Those guys played really well in the opener against UL Monroe. They're going to have to get pressure and controlled pressure because Bryce Young is so elusive and so able to get out of things that they're going to have to, obviously, they want to get home. They want to get sacks, but they're going to have to do it in a controlled manner. Because when you're talking about Bryce Young, you're talking about any quarterback that has that escapability, that's when the danger happens, is when you lose contain or you don't keep pass rush lane integrity, and Bryce Young's able to step up in the pocket, create a little bit of extra time. That allows Jermain Burton, Tyler Harrell, Holden, all these talented receivers to get out and create space, because you can't cover them forever. But same thing happens with Texas on the other side. And I'll throw back some of those receivers up there. Xavier Worthy and Jatavian Sanders at tight end had a big game in the opener. Quinn Ewers, he's not totally immobile himself. I mean, he's able to navigate the pocket. He's able to use different arm angles and get things going. But ultimately, I think the difference in this one is going to end up being that trio of pass rushers, the experience that Alabama brings back on defense. I think it's going to be right there at that 19. I think they do cover. So actually win by 21 points here. 38-17 is score prediction. So I'm going to take Alabama to cover. I'm going to take Alabama to win outright. Bama's pass rush is going to be a huge difference. And I think also Bama's ability to run the football this year, both with Bryce Young and also having Jahmyr Gibbs, Jace McClellan, several guys that can touch the ball that way. And Alabama also, too, they complete a lot of balls at or behind the line of scrimmage, almost an extension of that run game with those quick screens and things like that. So I think Alabama's going to take a little bit of pressure off of those offensive tackles, not allow Texas to let Coburn and Overshown and some of those guys get after them in the pass rush game, get the ball out quick, and the talent and the ability to create in space is going to be a big difference there. So like Alabama to take care of business for this one. We hope that you enjoyed this breakdown of the Texas versus Alabama game. Myself, Chris Lee, and Blake Lovell go live each Wednesday night here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed, turn on notifications, and we appreciate you watching this preview of Alabama versus Texas here on Southeastern 14.